So they're telling you the government shutdown's about money. They're telling you it's about process. They're telling you it's about partisanship. The truth, as always, it's about power. Because while Washington argues over DHS funding, something far more dangerous is happening behind the scenes. Both parties are positioning themselves to undermine President Trump. Democrats don't need to defund ICE to cripple it. They just need to strangle it with rules. And Republicans, too many of them are quietly allowing it because they're too afraid of the repercussions. The American people didn't vote for half measures. They didn't vote for procedural games. They voted for enforcement, accountability, and real change. And once you realize how this shutdown is being used to deceive each and every one of us, just us, we the people, the backlash is going to be massive. And I'll explain exactly what that means in just a few seconds. Disturbing photo, isn't it? It was meant to be disturbing because I guess the joke is on all of us, isn't it? It always is. We seem to be the last ones that matter. I covered yesterday on my broadcast Hakeem Jeffries. Stephen Miller is one of the most malignant architects of the violence and brutality the DHS has ever unleashed on the American people. He slandered hero nurse Alex Preddy as a would-be assassin. Why is this hateful bigot still Donald Trump's chief immigration advisor? That was right after, of course, he said, you got to put Kristi Noem on ice permanently, but Orange Man bad. But it's the Democrats overall. Oh, wait now. That's right. After the shutdown, it's not only the Democrats anymore. Now it's the Republicans. It's the moderates. All deceiving Trump. And it's within the package itself and what they're not passing. The radical left lunatics, insurrectionists, agitators, and thugs are going after Kristi Noem. Well, President Trump, no, they're actually all coming after you and me and everyone who voted for you and the mandate for change. Because suddenly, I guess the enforcement of getting all illegal immigrants out of the country has gone to only, a smaller portion. Because the appetite for change of those even in your own party has grown weary. They're afraid. They don't like the backlash. Oh, wait. I'm going to explain this in very granular detail, and it doesn't take that long to show you what they did. Before I get down into the depths of depravity we're going to discuss today, make sure, if you're subscribed to Lisa's channel, you make sure that bell is checked to all. It helps the algorithm to know that this news matters. To all of you that joined Lisa's channel yesterday, welcome home. What an amazing day for the growth of this channel. Our other channel, which is mine, she'll put a link above. We'd love you to join. Our home platform is restrictedrepublic.com. Always love you there, where exclusive content resides. And also want to give a special shout out to the sponsor that helped us to bring you this video today.
Well, we've previously talked about how Atomic Minerals changing under ATOM on the TSX venture and the ATMMF in the U.S. is positioned to answer America's urgent need for domestic uranium. And today, that story is truly moving faster than anybody expected. The $2.7 billion Department of Energy Uranium Enrichment Initiative isn't just a headline, it is a big game changer. This commitment signals that the United States government is serious about securing domestic uranium supply. And the market, well, it's responding. Uranium explorers with strategic assets and proven management are seeing increased investor interest. As the reality sets in, America needs these companies. This isn't about speculation. It's about national security. And our military relies on uranium for advanced defense systems, for our naval reactors, and even for strategic deterrence. With more news on the way and the support from our government, this story you're going to want to follow closely. Check out the link in the description box below to get more information, or go to atomicminerals.ca to find out more.
Staying on Hakeem Jeffries' Dallas Store Obama, Of course, now I'm not going to recover what Lisa covered yesterday. Don Lemon is an accomplished journalist whose urgent work is protected by the First Amendment. There is zero basis to arrest him. Actually, there's quite a long basis to arrest him. Maybe you should probably read the indictment. But I know, Hakeem, that's going to be difficult. Because that would be facts that would be counterintuitive to the argument that you're trying to make, which is, that's right, to aggravate the entire nation. The insane indictment, DOJ declares war on Lemon, that will not stop now. Is that going to be your new hero? If you actually went through the indictment, it's fairly easy to read. It's only 14 pages, probably 13 pages past the capacity of Hakeem Jeffries. I understand that. You'd understand pretty quickly what this is all about because, well, the charges are pretty black and white. Although he got released, of course, without bail. Now, if he was around, day after, let's say January 5th, would he have been released without bail? Of course not. But rules for thee and not me, but I'm going to stay on the primary story today. Very important we do that. And I'll just let Hakeem Jeffries lead us into it. I'm going to stay on point here. Because it was all about this government staying open. The House Democratic Caucus will evaluate the spending legislation passed by the Senate on its merits and then decide how to proceed legislatively. The Trump administration must set forth an ironclad path that dramatically reforms ICE and other DHS agencies that the American people now have become lawless. Have become lawless and heavy-handed. It is in the best interest of the country that this is done before the Congress reconvenes on Monday. It is in the best interest of the country, huh, Hakeem? According to you, I assume. Because everything in the country, it's always ICE and Border Patrol. It's their fault, right? Because everything's peaceful. I mean, Minnesota's the only place anything's happening right now, huh? Oh, that's right. This is in Los Angeles. I mean, this looks peaceful. Oh, wait, that's another anti-ICE protest happening. When one goes down, another rises up. Violent mob swarms federal detention center as LA protests spiral out of control. Interesting. I wonder when this one goes away, if another one will brew up. And when that one goes away, if another one will brew up until you finally get what you're looking for. And by the way, if you're in part of this protest society, I'm going to do a broadcast next week to explain to you exactly how you're being used. Oh, they're very proud to say that there's thousands of watchers on the street right now. Watching ICE, tracking. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a clip. Do you realize how they're using you? If you haven't yet, I would love to explain it to you. It's really not that difficult. You haven't figured it out yet? Well, they've done it to you for years, and they're doing it again. Why aren't they on the front lines? Why is it always you on the front lines? Did you ever think about that for a moment? Oh, they love it. LAPD arrests violent agitators after protests erupt, but it appears outside of the LAPD who realizes what's going on. Due to violent agitators on Alameda between Temple and Aliso, the city of Los Angeles has gone to tactical alert. But Mayor Karen Bass, peaceful protest is a constitutional right. I urge Angelenos to exercise that right safely and not give this administration an excuse to escalate. Los Angeles stands together. Maybe our congressional representatives have a different take. Maybe they're, oh, never mind. It's Maxine Waters.
Dr. Waters, what do you think about the violence unfolding right now with the ICE agents?
Well, let me tell you.
Sure.
You have to know that they have violent ICE, they have violent, police, they have violent border guards, and we have to be careful. We must protest, we must not be intimidated, but we must be careful not to.
Do you condemn the violence right now against the ICE agents? They're throwing water bottles and rocks at the ICE agents.
Well, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
No, and we want peaceful protest.
Of course she hasn't seen that. Of course she hasn't seen it. Anthony Gabas, what a great job he's done in coverage. I mean, he's done such a good job covering that he just happened to show, water bottles being thrown, other things being thrown at ICE. But of course, Maxine Waters hasn't seen it, even though there's coverage of it. But ICE needs to be defunded. They're the problem. Chaos unfolding as the protest turns violent. Water bottles and rocks being thrown at federal agents retreating. Protesters pepper sprayed his agents attempt to control, but almost comes full circle. Maybe they're upset because LAPD chief says, we're not going to enforce this unmasking of ICE agents because common sense says that's ridiculous. But common sense has no place in today's government anymore. Because, people like Tim Walz warns of a national unraveling. We're going to have a Fort Sumter moment. It's even more terrifying is there's rumblings, as I reported weeks and weeks ago, that this man may soon be a senator. Oh, wait, Justice, he said he wasn't going to be in political office anymore. Because politicians tell you the truth anymore?
Also, you'll notice, Jesse, careful to say that he will not run for public office again. However, Senator Amy Klobuchar could still appoint him to her Senate seat. Also interesting to note that Senator Klobuchar in her announcement did not mention President Trump today by name. She did say that she was going to root out fraud, but that's hard for many of us to believe. She's been a senator for nearly 20 years.
Go further. Is there a shady deal behind Klobuchar's gubernatorial bid? Oh, what would we do if Tim Walz was on Capitol Hill acting as a senator? I have so much to say on that. But remember, this is all about this drive against DHS. Because what they're doing, by enforcing federal law, by acting out, by enforcing what Trump has requested, what Congress has requested, what the law states, all in accordance with the mandate for change that we voted for. But every single Democrat, now Republicans, mind you, are fighting against what we the people voted for. Here's New Jersey Governor.
We are not going to allow any ICE raids to be staged from state properties. And we are also going to be standing up a portal so people can upload all their cell phone videos and alert people. Like if you see an ICE agent in the street, get your phone out.
Yes.
We want to know. Pick people up. They will not tell us who they are.
Right.
They will not tell us if they're here legally. They won't check. They'll pick up American citizens. They picked up a 5-year-old child.
Such dangerous rhetoric, so unproven, so unfactual. But I guess none of facts don't matter, does it? Oh, I'll be starting with facts here in a second. When Biden refused to enforce immigration law, we were told that states couldn't enforce those laws because it was a federal function. Now, when Trump is trying to enforce federal immigration law, these same people say it's fine for states to obstruct and sabotage the carrying out of this same federal function. Isn't it amazing how it works? Ron DeSantis put that out. Because I guess none of these statutes make a difference anymore. None of these federal statutes are all being thrown away. And you would think that Republicans would back up President Trump on that. You would think they would come to the rescue of President Trump. It appears they're all getting cold feet now. I guess the activities on the ground, they just don't have the stomach for. Even people like Newt Gingrich are starting to turn around and run the other way.
Process. So I think there are two things. We need a national conversation about what we're going to do about people who've come here, some of them 20 years ago, who've been obeying the law, paying taxes, good neighbors, have kids, go to PTA. Very few Americans want to see the police walk in and pick them up and deport them.
Sounds so reasonable, except he's wrong. Every poll has voted the exact opposite, because what he's stating here is, well, they've been here for 20 years, although they're here illegally. And no American wants it. According to whom? Well, that's your own talking point. But that drumbeat is raising up now. Here's Rand Paul.
You're going to shock you. I'm a moderate on this. I actually think that most of the people that are here and working lawfully and can pass a background check, I would give them no welfare, and I'd give them no citizenship, no voting privileges, but you can work and we won't arrest you.
And that drumbeat is growing. And it comes all full circle now to the shutdown. Remember, Republicans are joining this choir now.
Any confidence. Look, we're about to map out the something I've tried to work diplomatically on, but she's a complete failure on a disaster response. There's no comparison between his Homeland Security in President Trump's first term and this one. They're asleep at the switch. They're pushing paper and doing Doge and causing people not to get badly needed resources down there. She clearly doesn't know how to manage. She's never managed a large organization, and she's failing at every possible measure of the job.
I mean, and it seems like Stephen Miller is not going anywhere either.
Well, again, I'll leave it up to the president, but Stephen Miller was the one who got out in front on Greenland. It's not working the way he said it was. He got out in front and told the president before he'd even taken the time to understand the
Okay, that's enough. I can't take them anymore. I love when Democrats get to cite Republicans going against President Trump because he's not the only one being deceived, folks. After 2 tragic events in which American citizens were killed during confrontations with immigration and customs enforcement agents, President Donald J. Trump has wisely and decisively intervened to get the situation under control. President Trump takes the right steps in Minnesota by what they're stating is stepping back to what they want, which is only criminal, illegal aliens to be deported now. And that's the measures they're beginning to move towards. It's what Democrats want. It's what Schumer wants, but only in part. And here's where the deception gets really ugly and where the shutdown gets really ugly. And it's the part they're not telling you of. Stealth amnesty. Democrats and Republicans team up to slip stealth amnesty into DHS funding bill as shutdown looms. The stealth amnesty bill just got a big push forward on Tuesday night when Senate Democrats and Republicans agreed to delay passage of the 2026 funding bill for the Department of Homeland Security. The DHS bill is now being held back until Senate Democrats and Republicans can include a series of apparent minor changes that will create a huge bureaucratic barrier to the deportation of non-violent illegal migrants. And hence, man, you got the real argument happening. Mainstream media won't simplify it like this because the Democrats have a plan. You see, they state and they believe, and the Republicans are now supporting a way to cripple ICE without ever defunding them. So let's start with the facts. The federal government is now temporarily shut down again. And this time, the flashpoint is Department of Homeland Security funding. That includes ICE, Border Patrol, FEMA, TSA. You know, the core agencies responsible for enforcing the law and protecting the country. But don't let the Washington spin fool you. This shutdown isn't about whether America enforces its borders. It's about how the political class can avoid honoring the mandate voters gave President Trump, what we voted to happen, period. Because here's what Democrats know, and hope you don't. You don't have to defund ICE to cripple ICE. You can bury it under restrictions, reporting requirements, operational handcuffs, and legal landmines that make enforcement, well, nearly freaking impossible. And that's exactly what's being floated right now. Not openly, not honestly, but quietly through legislative maneuvers. It's a joke. And hence, why Schumer appears as the Joker on my tab. And President Trump, well, he's always seen it for what it is. Trump didn't run on symbolic enforcement. He didn't campaign on process. He ran on results, border security, law enforcement support, and restoring credibility to immigration law and order. This shutdown exposes the real strategy. Democrats publicly posture about compassion while privately attempting to neutralize enforcement agencies they politically oppose. It's not the funding. It's sabotage through bureaucracy. But here's the part that will make each and every one of you furious once you connect the dots. Some Republicans are now letting it happen. Some because they oppose Trump, but others not because they oppose Trump, but because delay, confusion, and quiet compromise are more comfortable than confronting the system head on. And they don't like the sound bites on TV. They're too uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it's still the same freaking thing. That's betrayal. Because we, the people, the voters, didn't send Trump back to Washington to manage decline. We sent them back to break the cycle, to end the endless games where nothing fundamentally changed no matter who was in charge. The shutdown isn't proof the system is broken. It's proof it's fighting back. Trump is demanding clarity. He's demanding enforcement. He's demanding that DHS funding actually reflect the mission Americans voted for. Some are arguing he's backing off of that mission, but his voter base isn't going to accept that. But it appears Republicans and Democrats and moderates don't really care what you think. And that's why this moment matters. Because when the government reopens, and it will, Americans are going to see who stood with the mandate and who tried to dilute it behind closed doors. They're going to realize that the real threat wasn't a shutdown. It was the attempt to quietly undo an election result without ever facing off against the voters, we the people. President Trump isn't being obstructive. He's attempted to be consistent. And once the public understands how close Washington came to selling them another illusion of change, the pressure on Congress is going to be unstoppable, or we can hope, or everything will just again become watered down and useless. Which so far they've all shown the propensity to have it become exactly that. So we must all hope this isn't the end of the fight. It's the exposure of it. Because that's what we do here. And there's some voices out there that actually agree with us. We should not give Democrats a single inch when it comes to backing law enforcement, enforce the law, deport criminals, or to everyone calling for a national conversation on immigration and amnesty. We already had the national conversation. It was called the election of 2024. We decided on mass deportation and no amnesty. Or I want to see every illegal deported, period. If the illegal alien gets to stay, it's amnesty. No amnesty, more deportation, period. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What say you? Should it only be criminal illegal aliens, or should it be all illegal aliens? That is the question. I can't wait to see your answer in the description box below. Let's see who still stands for the mandate for change. I know where I stand. I know where Lisa stands. I know where Megyn Kelly stands. Where do you? I can't wait to see your comments. Man, because this battle is not over. For the Democrats. I can't wait till next week when I get to tell you about thousands of new ICE watchers hit the streets after 2 killings. Folks, I'm going to take great enjoyment and pleasure in expressing and explaining to you exactly how good you are at allowing yourself to be used. But maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just allow you to continue. But I actually care about you, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, because no one deserves to be used by politicians. But there is no greater example than one party having a constituency that allows itself to be tread through the mud and used more so than the left. And I'll explain that based on this article. Oh, I'm going to have so much fun next week. If you haven't been to restrictedrepublic.com, well, you'll find out. If you think I could get a little facetious and snarky here, oh, you should see me when the filters are off. Well, until next time, Godspeed and God bless Justice Knight. Signing out.